After Ultimate Custom Night, the main Five Nights at Freddy's timeline is over. Yeah, sure, there are still more games being made, but they aren't actually about dead children possessing robots. Instead, it's about dead psychopaths possessing adults. So, now that we've established that Five Nights at Freddy's Ultimate Custom Night is the last game, let's figure out this timeline. Now, keep in mind I won't actually be including events from the books, because while they do help explain some things in the timeline, they aren't 100% canon. More so a different way of telling the same story, and the events don't really match up, so that's why I'm not going to be including those. Also, just for the sake of making everybody mad, I'm not going to call them animatronics, I'm going to call them robots. Alright, let's start out with the very first event in the timeline. Two robotics geniuses and also psychopaths, Henry and William Afton, meet together and they open up their very own Fredbear's Family Diner. Also, the audio quality is going to be pretty bad, as will the visual quality be, but this is the best I could do, okay? So just leave me alone. Now, these two guys, they both have their own kids. Henry has a daughter, leasing her meet a pretty tragic fate soon. William has two sons and a daughter. And one of those sons, his youngest, who we know is the FNAF 4 crying child, gets spooked away from Fredbear's, likely from his dad, who does not want him over there. However, that does not work, as he goes anyway and gets bitten. That leads him to die in the bite of 87.
Hey guys, sorry about that. I accidentally said bite of 87, even though it was actually the bite of 83 that killed the kid. So, sorry about that. Moving on to the video.
And in his last moments as a coma, we have Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Fun. We already have a kid dying. Only took us 3 pieces of paper to have a child dying. Alright, so now that a kid just died, Fredbear's has to close. 1983, Fredbear's closes. And then Henry and William go their separate ways, as William goes on to become the night guard at the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 place. Remember Fredbear robots? The ones that are, the classics. Freddy, Foxy, Bonnie, Chica, they all get brought there to be used as parts. And then William, as the night guard, drives up and kills Henry's daughter, who goes on to possess the puppet. Kills her right outside in the middle of the rain. She was outside of the party. We don't know why. But yeah. So then, after complaining a bit, William Afton becomes the day guard and uses the spring Bonnie suit from Fredbear's to lure kids to their deaths in 1985. He gets 5 kids to die, and then they go on to possess the robots of Withered, Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, Foxy, and Golden Freddy, who is probably Fredbear, by the way. And then we don't know if this is 100% canon. I don't know, I read it on the wiki, but Billy Afton might kill 5 more kids. I don't know. If he does, then they possess the toy robots. That's what happens, according to the wiki anyway. I don't know if he actually did that, by the way, that's disclaimer. And then this brings us finally to our next Five Nights at Freddy's game, FNAF 2, 1987. Then, at the end, the fight of 87 gets the place shut down. We don't know who did it. My guess is on Mangle, because she'd have a reason to bite a kid, because they're always tearing her apart, putting her back together, and her jump scare shows her going for the frontal lobe, which is where the 87 victim got bit. So that's my theory. Might not be right, might be wrong, might not be. Who cares? Doesn't matter to the story. Alright, so after the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 place gets closed, we have sort of a time split, as now we have 2 things happening at the same time. These are all still in the same universe, but they probably happen around the same time. So the first one, I got my paper here to make sure I get this right. The first one we're going to talk about is Billy Afton, who I should probably mention right now is the purple guy, man behind the slaughter. He's also the yellow guy in the Pizzeria Simulator Midnight Motorist minigame. Yeah. So I felt I should mention that. So yeah, here William Afton starts up the sister location and makes the Funtime robots, plus Ballora and Baby and the other ones, as sort of sole experiments. We don't know if he gets any kids to die there, or how many if he does, but we know that they do not possess the robots, like the ones in the original game. Meanwhile, Five Nights at Freddy's one place opens up, and they reuse the Wither robots for parts to make their new ones. Both of these happened sometime between 1987 and 1992. Alright, yeah, I said this. Wither robots are reused as the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 robots. Also, Golden Freddy is brought there even though they don't use him there. I think it's kind of weird, but what do I know? So yeah, then finally we make it. Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Only took us 16 little pieces of paper wasted. Oh yeah. So meanwhile, also in between 1987 and 1992, William Afton's daughter Elizabeth dies. She gets eaten by Baby's stomach claw, Circus Baby, the sister location place. I don't know what I'm doing, but alright. So yeah, that happens. It's kind of sad, but oh well. So then, a little bit later, William Afton sends his oldest son, Michael, to the sister location. Then the game sister location takes place, and Michael becomes a purple zombie and spits up the robot spaghetti that is entered, likely freeing Scrap Baby, who we'll see in like 30 years. Also, Five Nights at Freddy's 1 does take place in 1992. MatPat thought it took place in 1993, but that was just a guess. If we use actual minimum wages and calendars, we can deduce that it was 1992. So then, William Afton goes back to the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 place after it gets closed down to gather up the animatronic parts, robot parts. I still want to make people mad at me. And he's going to use those to try to achieve immortality. But he becomes Spring Shaft after getting spooked into the suit by the ghosts of his dead victims. The 5 main dudes anyway. And then after some harsh movements and the rainwater messing up with the spring locks, he gets trapped in there and dies. But then his ghost possesses his corpse, which personally I think is cheating a little bit. Because, what's the point of death if you can just possess your body? But yeah, then he just chills there for 30 years. And then Mike wanders around as a zombie for 30 years as well. A lot of nothing happens for 30 years. I don't know why I had to be 30, like they could have made it 10, even 20, but no, 30 years, everyone doing nothing. Alright, so 30 years later, in about 2022, Fazbear Frights opens up and Springtrap is freed. Yay! That leads into Five Nights at Freddy's 3 happening, which leads into Fazbear Frights burning. Only 3 for 3 little pictures, poor guy. Fazbear Fright is dead, as is the entire memory of Freddy Fazbear's at all. But there's more. Alright, I'm moving down here because I've run out of space there. But, oh well. So we start out with the original 5 dudes being melted into Molten Freddy, which I'll get to a bit of mix-ups and Springtrap gets burnt into Scraptrap and gets set free. Now, MatPat, in his theory, claims that Molten Freddy is actually the result of Ennard, and that the Funtime animatronics are the result of William Afton's soul testing and mixing them all into the Funtime animatronics to sort of hold more souls so that he can be immortal. But that does not fit in with the timeline at all, as at the very end, I don't think that fits in, because if Ennard is in Molten Freddy, then how come Circus Baby, went on to be a separate entity as the Scrap Baby? Personally, I think that it makes more sense for Ennard to take the form of Scrap Baby after being puked up as robot spaghetti by Michael, and then it goes on to do crazy adventures for 30 years. Meanwhile, since they were caught in the fire of Fazbear Frights, the original dudes melt into Molten Freddy. That's what happens then. So yeah, then Springtrap becomes Scraptrap. Alright, so here's where it ends. This is the final showdown. Henry finally shows up. After 40 years, he's finally back to do something. Of course, in the Ultimate Custom Night Fox vs. Bear cutscenes, it is implied that Henry's been trying to stop William a bunch of times before, but it's been 40 years since he's actually done anything useful. So that's kind of on him. He starts up a sort of mock Freddy Fazbear's to lure everybody together. And Michael Afton, now a zombie, gets a job. And here we have Pizzeria Simulator. And here's where everybody fits into that. William Afton is Scraptrap. The player plays as Michael Afton. Scrap Baby is William's daughter Elizabeth, who possessed Baby, presumably. I don't actually think she possessed him, possessed her, but she's in Ennard. Molten Freddy's the OG 5 dudes. Lefty has the puppet inside. I guess that's what I've heard. You can see the puppet inside of Lefty. Why don't I just have the puppet? Also, Henry's there. Just chilling. And then Henry sets the place on fire. Everybody dies. Everybody dies. Everybody's soul moves on to a better place. Except for one. That's right. William Afton. He gets tormented for all eternity by Golden Freddy's ghost. That is what Five Nights at Freddy Ultimate Custom Night is. Gets forced to die to all the monsters he's ever created for all eternity. Yeah, all eternity. Definitely no VR games that set him free. No. Definitely no upcoming AAA games that are gonna let him possess people. Definitely not. None of this is happening. So yeah, that's the timeline. Not as confusing as I thought it would be, but the order of the game certainly is. You go 4, 2, 1, 5, 3, 6, 7. It's really confusing. And it was definitely supposed to end at 3 and 4. That's pretty obvious. But that's it. That's what we have now. This is mostly a story about dying ghost children, yeah, but it's also a story about the Aftons and how horrible their life was just because William decided to go out and murder a bunch of children. So, to commemorate how awful their existence was, I put together a little sort of montage of their misery set to a pretty fitting song. Enjoy.
I hope that our few remaining friends give up on trying to save us. I hope we come up with a fail-safe plot to piss off the dumb few that forgave us. I hope the fences we mended fall down beneath their own weight, and I hope we hang on past the last exit. I hope it's already too late. And I hope the junkyard a few blocks from here someday burns down. And I hope the rising black smoke carries me far away, and I never come back to this town again. In my life, I hope I lie and tell everyone you were a good wife, and I hope you die. I hope we both die. I hope I cut myself shaving tomorrow. I hope it bleeds all day long. Our friends say it's darkest before the sun rises. We're pretty sure they're all wrong. I hope it stays dark forever. I hope the worst isn't over. And I hope you blink before I do. I hope I never get sober. And I hope when you think of me years down the line, you can't find one good thing to say. And I'd hope that if I found the strength to walk out, you'd stay the hell out of my way. I am drowning. There is no sign of land. You are coming down with me, hand in unlovable hand, and I hope you die. I hope we both die.
Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole. So don't keep the devil waiting.